How much did just 1 week, based off 1 week, still got a lot of football to play and to watch. How much did the Lions upgrade their backfield?
I mean, they certainly upgraded. I will get that out of the way before people are going to come attack me in a minute. They most certainly upgraded, and I thought that the Detroit Lions backfield performed fine. I would say that they both did their job admirably. I would say, at least for week 1, they were both on brand. David Montgomery was about who you thought he would be, and Jahmyr Gibbs, in terms of being electric when he touches the ball, but not getting a ton of usage right away, that's about what you expected, I would say, early on in the regular season. But one thing that I also have, and this is kind of a compulsion of mine that I just can't fight, but you know what? I don't care. I just can't just leave nonsense behind and not talk about it, because a lot of people were just fawning over David Montgomery. Oh my God, he had such a great debut.
I was, and I still am.
Okay, 21 carries, 74 yards for 3.5 yards per carry and a touchdown. That's fine, but like I said, that's very, very on-brand David Montgomery. And I hear everyone talking about, oh my God, how about that Jamal Williams debut? 18 carries for 45 yards. What a bum. He was completely the product of the Detroit Lions offensive line. I could have ran behind that offensive line and gotten 3 yards a carry. No, because let me give you some stat lines. 17 carries for 26 yards. 12 carries for 20 yards, both under 2 yards per carry. 14 carries for 36 yards. Those stat lines belong to David Montgomery last season when he didn't have the benefit of the Lions offensive line.
He had the worst offensive line. Did you see him this year? They even addressed the offensive line, and they still couldn't do anything.
How the hell was Khalil Herbert able to average 5.7 yards per carry?
Do we need to go down this?
No,
do we need to go down this path?
I get that there's context, but David Montgomery looked awful in 3 games in which he was objectively worse than the game that Jamal Williams played in the last one. And here, let me give you some of these stat lines too. Jamal Williams last season had 4 games in which he had more yards and a higher yards per carry than David Montgomery when he had the benefit of the Lions offensive line. And let's go to another guy who you're going to be surprised that I'm bringing up, because you guys aren't going to like this. Jahmyr Gibbs had a very fine debut. 7 carries, 42 yards, 2 catches for 18 yards. A guy by the name of DeAndre Swift had 4 games in which he had more yards, a higher yards per carry, and in all 4 of those games had more receptions and more yards. I'm just saying that did they really? I mean, they upgraded, of course, but at the same time, you like the Lions' offensive line can do some wonders for players. And I know a lot of people will talk about, oh my God, like I hear it from you, Lucas. I hear it from Neil Rule, the way that David Montgomery can turn those no gain yards into 2-yard gains. That's fine. That's of course a skill, but you guys are acting like he's a star because of it. Jamal Williams, he had over 1,000 yards and 4 yards per carry and 17 touchdowns. Are you telling me that he didn't fall forward from time to time? Are you telling me that he couldn't have made some of those runs? I'm just saying David Montgomery had a very fine on-brand debut. But this dunking that you guys want to do on, those bums, Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, it's too far.
No,
it's 1 week.
Okay, it's 1 week, Flannel, and you're right. And I think we can all agree that the Lions offense could have played a lot better. And they played, I know the Chiefs defense, they didn't have Chris Jones out there, but they still had Steve Spagnuolo, Nick Bolton, and Willie Gay, and Justin Reed in the back end. That's going to have some difference into how you execute a running game. Steve Spagnuolo is probably the best defensive coordinator in the league. Not to mention, the Lions still have to play the Vikings twice, the Bears twice. The Panthers have a solid defense, but their secondary is probably the strength of the team. They have a solid front 7 when it comes to pass rushing, but stopping the run is definitely not their strength. Then you go on the road to the Saints, tough defense. That's where we'll probably see another game like this. This was a tough game to run the ball. And David Montgomery, if he didn't play the way that he did, I know he had 3.5 yards per carry, but in that first half, when he was picking up 6-7 yards every time and they were in a rhythm, the thing with David Montgomery is you got to get him in the rhythm. Why did Khalil Herbert have 5 yards per carry? Because Khalil Herbert is in a back that you have to put in rhythm because he's quick and explosive. David Montgomery is the guy that eats up yards and keeps ahead of the chains. And the whole thing, I'm not acting like David Montgomery is a superstar, but when you really compare it, David Montgomery is still more explosive than Jamal Williams, a better pass catcher, and I know that he got blown the fuck up this week, but he's still a better pass protector than Jamal Williams as well. And Jahmyr Gibbs and DeAndre Swift, it was his first game ever. And I'm not saying DeAndre Swift had some great games in Detroit, but Jahmyr Gibbs, if you're going to compare him and DeAndre Swift, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs 11 times out of 9. It's not even close.